I've been in bed till now.
Oh God. Oh my God. How are we gonna make it? We'll make it though, and we'll make it good. This is gonna be a great show. I wrote you. Oh, we're live. I mean, but they're not. The people aren't here yet. Let me put some music on. I'll put some. I'll put some. How about? Oh, they got new ones. Huh. I'll try this one. That's pretty. That's not very good. Okay, I heard it. That's one. This is bullshit. Get rid of it. Okay. So
look at the energy. It's like the whole of my body is shaking.
How long has it been like this? How long has it been like this?
Well, I've been like the body not being able to really relax because I slept so little last night, like 3 hours. I fell asleep 5:30 a.m. And I need my sleep.
You fell asleep at 5:30 a.m. in the morning?
No, sorry. Yes, a.m. Yes, a.m.
So you were up all night. So
but I went to bed at 10:30 p.m.
Oh, you went to bed at 10:30.
Yeah, but I fell asleep 5:30.
So
And then the shaking and everything started about a couple of hours ago. I saw you, and then it was just like I was laying in bed and I was just shaking. And I was
like, so look, okay, so I don't even know where to start, but I'm with you. I'll just start with the day. So I went to bed at 4. No, I went to bed at 3, and I woke up at 5. And I had this, and I was in this lucid dream, and Morgan was in it, and some other people that I know. We were on a different time, like maybe I don't know, It was a different timeline, sometime, let's say, in the last 30 or 40 years. That's what it seemed like. But this is what's so crazy. I've been having these dreams. I've been waking up. I'm getting thrown back into my body. I can't get out of bed. I had it happen 3 times in 2 days when I wasn't sleeping. At the same time, some stuff was going on with Morgan. So my light body was leaving me while I'm awake. And I'm laying on the couch. And I can't move. But last night, I had this lucid dream. And it was so amazing. It was so profound. I woke up. I wrote, like channeled, with the phone without my glasses on. I channeled this long message to Morgan, and I said, this is what's, I just laid it out. So, but the thing was, in the dream, I could just, and I'm only saying this because I'm trying to make a point about I don't know what I'm saying, but when I touched her in the dream, and it just says something about the senses in the dream. It wasn't like touching when we touch each other as humans. I was touching, but I could feel more. I could smell more. I could sense more. I could see more. And of course, there was a lot of messages in the dream, but something's going on. And so I woke up 2 hours, and then I lay there for a while, and then I went into the kitchen, and I'm like, man, I am tired of this shit. I am so tired of it. I'm fed up with people giving their power away, and I just turned on the phone and I start doing this live video, and I went on for like, I don't know, 20 minutes or something. But I got so much energy that the video just started going crazy, right? So then I turned around and I did another one sitting right here for an hour. So you went to bed, you wake up 2-3 hours later, and then you start shaking.
Then I woke up and I was like, have I only slept 3 hours? And I kept in bed for like an hour and a half more to try to sleep, but it was impossible. And then, I got up, I had my breakfast, and then I went into a meditation and, did just like my normal morning routine. And then I went for a little walk, and then I tried to go to bed to relax, and my heart was just like pulsating. And I know that if I have slept like really, really little, the body can go into like almost like a vacuum set, like it's stressed basically, right? So it
really?
doesn't calm down even though I'm trying, and that's very uncomfortable. And then I'm very afraid of pushing my body when it's like that, because of everything I all the memories I have from the chronic fatigue being in that state. And then, I got really ill if I pushed. So all those memories sort of, get triggered like, oh my goodness, should I just relax now? But then it's like the energy just coming through the whole day. It's like, so my body is exhausted for not having slept. But it's just like, can't almost talk clearly. But now it's just like it's like my mom called this afternoon, and she was like, how are you feeling? And I said, well, I slept 3 hours and it feels like I have a 24-hour broadcast coming into my head constantly, for the last how many days. It's just like, it's just streaming. Like it feels like I'm, yeah, it's and before I just opened Facebook, on my phone when I was in bed, and I just put it down. And it had started, so it was just open, but I just put it down. But it had started on a video, obviously, that I wasn't aware of. And I just heard like a sound just a sound from a voice, but it wasn't sentence coming, it was just like like the sound of the voice. And when I heard that voice, I just had, the energy was shooting in my stomach, and it was shooting upwards, and I started shaking. And I was like, what is this? And then you started talking. So it was your voice on that video that started. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh man, this is crazy.
And then I started, just like, oh my goodness, think if I just see Todd and I start crying today, or I just, go into a trance state, or, I was just like, oh my God, what is this? But I just knew I had to come on. So
somebody
if I look tired, it's just because I am tired.
Well, that's two of us. I'm going to sleep as soon as I get off this show. And then I have another one like in 3 hours or something. But okay, this is great. This is fantastic. Somebody was on the show 3 or 4 days ago. I can't remember. And it was a woman, and she said, like what you're describing, she said, I'm getting upgraded, downloaded information all at the same time the whole time.
Yes.
And I'm going, okay, I'm not sleeping. I haven't slept I probably slept more than 6 hours, maybe 3 times in 6 or 8 weeks. I'm mostly sleeping a couple hours. I talked to Franco yesterday for 2 hours. We had a talk like this, but it was not with people. We actually recorded it. We're going to release it, but it wasn't planned. And I told him, he said, Todd, I'm only sleeping 2 hours, and then I get up. Okay, so that happens. And then something else that you said. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so who was I talking to? All right. See, I can't remember. I can't remember anything now. But
memory loss goes with it all.
Huh? What's that?
Memory loss goes with it all.
Yeah. But yeah, something. Oh, the body. Last night. Okay. First of all, okay, I can't get everything straight, but I remember last night, and I think yesterday, because I told you I had these 3 episodes where in 2 days, and Morgan was going through some stuff. It was the 9, 9, 10, 11, or no, 9, 8, 9, 9, 9, 10, like that. Right before the 11, everything started to kind of not clear, but move to a different level in the 11. And 3 times I was out of my body, like I'm right now, and then I go, oh my God, I got to go. And I couldn't walk. I couldn't get up. I was like at times paralyzed, right? Like I couldn't move my body, but I was awake. I wasn't aware where my body went, but I kind of figured it out later. So that happened. And so last night, as another example, sometimes I assist Morgan in sessions for couples or for individuals, and I'll act as a proxy, and communicate with their higher self through. She facilitates it, and I've done it a number of times, like probably 12 times, 15 times. I don't know. And so, but last night when it happened, it was really powerful because I never felt the communication from the other higher self, not on these shows, 3,000 shows, and not in session like I did. And it even told me, you're going to feel this because we really need you to understand. I don't know what they were saying, but I felt it. I felt it come in my head. I felt it in my body, like it was communicating, but it wasn't me. It's weird. Like all this weird stuff is happening. So what's the next
and it's sometimes it's difficult to navigate in the sense that it's like, okay, because it's so important to listen to the body and not push, overly with the body. But at the same time, like, in the beginning of my journey, it was a very big challenge for me because I went into trance without knowing what it was the first time. It just happened. And then I had no control over it. So it would just, happen.
So what happened?
So much pressure in the body, and it just like.
Do you start talking when that happens, or when you say trance, you just
channeling.
Kind of okay. Oh my! Well, see now my ears are starting to go crazy. This is another thing that just happened recently. You know how you get the tones out here, and
yes,
and you hear the tones. I started having them a couple. I can't remember now because I can't think. But like say yesterday maybe, and I didn't even tell anybody. I didn't even mention it to Morgan. I don't remember, but it was coming from inside of my ear, my head. It wasn't coming from outside. I go, well, that's weird. This sounds different. So I know. You know what I'm talking about? I put my fingers in my ear, and then I realized the sound was coming out, not in. That was trippy.
It's like a vibration almost, like like if like the sound of a gong, and if you just hear that vibration, it's almost like that. There's something going on in the center of the head, and it's just like out.
Are we making any sense? I'm sure
I don't know.
Everybody can relate to this. Hey, I noticed. I know, and yeah, I think this is gonna be a good show. So I noticed that you because I kind of watch your channel, but one of the ones that you put, and I didn't get to listen to it, and I don't know if you want to talk about this because when I saw it, last night I was like, I'm going to ask her about that. I didn't get to watch it because I was in Venus or somewhere, and it said, but I was curious as to what your thoughts were, if you can remember, and it had to do with, I think it said separation in the community, and I thought, wow, coming from her, someone like her, that would be interesting to hear what she had to say. Was that a channel?
Yeah,
it was a channel. Okay, do you remember what it said?
Yes, I actually opened my book on the page where I had the notes for the video, because when I do a trance channel, I don't remember much afterwards. So I just record it on my phone, and I have to re-listen and take some notes and go through it. And just 2 minutes before we got on, I was opening on that page because I was like, he's going to ask me.
Yeah, that's trippy. And that's another thing that was trippy last night in that session, because I've done plenty of them with Morgan, plenty. And even like in the same style as when we would, she would take me through stuff years ago, like, but as she would start talking, everything would start happening in the third eye, in like, you know what I mean? In the field. Like, it was really weird when I was talking to Franco. I just want to catch up with him. I hadn't seen him since Soulogy Fest, and I just wanted to say hi to him. Mm-hmm. So what happened was, and I didn't mention the name of the person that was in the session. That's not proper protocol, but I see that. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. Well, I'm not making any sense. So I get on the thing with Franco, and we're talking about 8 or 10 minutes, and I thought to myself, we should be recording this. And then he goes, hey, you want to record this?
Right.
So that's happening a lot. Happened in the session last night. It's happening more and more. Yeah. Are we making any sense?
I don't know.
So
Oh,
what did your channel pull in? Hi Pamela. What did
it,
it pull in regard to the was that the title of it, separation in the community? Or why is there separation in the community? Something like that.
yes, it's something about a separation in the awakened community.
Yeah,
I
light
think it was.
worker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Light worker community. Yeah, I'd like to hear that. Do you
Yeah.
remember any? Yeah.
Yeah. It's so what was said was that we are, as we know, like in times of great changes, and there was a part of the channeling as well about the children coming in with a new frequency. So what we are doing that have been there before is to really clear programs so that because they won't work in those old programs, and so we are clearing stuff for the frequency that children are bringing in can work, or that they can really bring those frequencies in. And I said that there are a lot of people asking why we are, why it's taking so long. Why is it dragging out? Like, have we missed something? Like all these questions, because it's so intense. And what I said is that it's felt like a long preparation. So it is the shift happening, but it feels almost like a preparation to the final like switch, like when we actually can see that now we have shifted. And that they called it a preparation period for not creating too much cognitive dissonance in the human.
Then not creating too much.
Yes, because if it would happen even quicker, it would create a lot of cognitive dissonance. But now there are things happening that will make people awaken or become conscious and aware.
Okay.
But if everything would happen sort of overnight,
Okay.
a lot of people would basically lose it, right?
I just want to make sure I understand. Okay. So normally when we think of cognitive dissonance, we think of like what's going on, like this program's presented to us and people complying with things that isn't in alignment with themselves, right? Like believing one thing, doing another.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that from the aspects that you're receiving this information, their explanation is that it couldn't go any faster. Otherwise, it would create cognitive dissonance. In other words, people would not, they wouldn't
Be able to
align.
handle it.
Yeah, they wouldn't align with it. They wouldn't be, it would be too fantastic, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So this is good. This is going to be a good show. I can tell you why. I can tell you why. I can tell you why, because I know galactic, let's just say predominantly galactic beings when I see them. You're one, Franco's one, Morgan's one. There's plenty of them. I can point them out. I'm very organic, and that doesn't mean I'm not galactic. It just means we're everything anyway. But my point is, I've been having conversations, and I talked to Franco about this, and I think I talked a little bit on some of the shows in the last few days, and that is, I realized in my conversations with my aspects, which primarily were galactic, that we're not just raising our frequency to their level; we're going past it, and they're going with us, and part of that, my understanding was, obviously no one's going to do it for us. We chose to do it ourselves. So there's not going to be any intervention other than like what we get now, like guidance and whatever. And that the way that we get there is by, people are using the word sovereignty a lot, but the sovereignty doesn't stop at Earth. It stops with all of our aspects as well. Like we have a choice, right? Does that
and that's really the sovereignty of that, or the sovereignty is really sort of the essence of that channeled message as well.
It's almost like going
to identity.
Yeah, it's almost like going to a shaman, right? I've never been to one, but you read shaman stories and they push you. They push you and they question you and they make you stand in your power, I guess is what I'm saying. And that's kind of the message I got. Is that what you're picking
Yes.
up on too?
Yes. They said that there are also people having soul contracts that says that they will be awakening sort of at a later point than like 2 years ago or yesterday, which will also cause further awakening in others. So that it's not necessarily something wrong if something awakens, quote unquote awakens, but yeah, we know what we mean, on a later point, because they are, by doing that and having that contracted, they are actually awakening others, because they are showing others by being an example of not being awakened. Other people can actually see that, hey, there's something not really working, because they can actually see it playing out. This person believes all of this, or is not seeing this, and the actions and the words.
Kind of like Joe.
It's sort of like watching a play, and like, hey, there's something not really making sense here. So they are actually, by doing that, awakening other people, because other people can see them.
Would President Joe Biden, his press conferences, be a good example?
I haven't watched it.
Oh my God!
But we have elections in Norway today, so
no, but it's what you're saying, because you're watching this guy, and he's supposedly the president of the United States, the most powerful, whatever, and he can't talk. He can't make any sense. He fell asleep with the prime minister of Israel. I mean, I'm not picking on that person, that mirror. What I'm saying is, it sounds like what you were told. Like you're watching this play, and you're going, like, what's wrong with this? It doesn't. Something's wrong with this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't. It doesn't work. It'd be like going to a movie, and you're watching a movie, and it just keeps like going nowhere or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so people will start thinking. And so they will awaken. So they're actually, they're helping sort of with the cognitive dissonance, because people have time to see that, oh my goodness, there's something not matching up here.
That's just a joke. I put it up.
But yes.
No, I got you.
I
got you. No, but so this is very fresh information from you, right? Yeah, bless him is right. She's right. But no, this is really fresh information. And one thing about being in this state of no sleep, you're wide open too, right? You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
your humans off, but your intel, your connection's strong. But like, this is pretty new. And I think obviously the best stuff we can hear is the newest stuff. You know what I mean? It's not even about, okay. So like, but you did three like 3 of these videos in a week, and you normally do like 1 a week, maybe, I think. Right?
Yeah, 1 till 2. And I was close to doing 2 more, because it's just streaming through. Like, yeah.
So what's the big, what are the big themes in this period of the last week or so, where you've done these videos and not sleeping and shaking and all that?
Besides being all weird, well, there are some more, I think, very important points from that specific channeling, because they said that what's important is not like when I think, it's a message that might provoke people, but the message has to be, they said, held, spoken, and embodied, for not creating further separation. And so being, quote unquote, awakened and identifying in an old way, because what they said a lot of people are not seeing is that we are identifying, we are coming out of, we're dealing with all our traumas, we are changing patterns, we are reprogramming ourselves, we are, throwing belief after belief out of the window, and then we are like, oh, but we are, we are the awakened community, and we're really good,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
attaching to the identity of being awakened. That
Yes.
in and of itself is a pattern and a program in the frequency that we are supposed, or we are working on leaving behind. And so if we are being awakened and going around, being all better than others, and we are telling others what to do and
Mm-hmm.
judging others, we are really on the same frequency. We are just changed the attachment to the
Yeah.
identity
Yeah.
into being awakened.
Yeah.
And that is a problem, because that creates further separation, because then we are actually walking around causing separation.
Well, we're doing the
What
same
we need
thing.
to do is to really embody
Yeah.
and be, not only speak and identify with being awakened. We have
Yes.
to really, like they said, you have to look the egoic structure of the identity in the eyes.
Yeah.
Because it's the attachment to the identity structure that is causing further separation.
Yes. I'm not trying to interrupt you. There's a lag. So it sounds like you stopped. And then, but listen, this is what, so Franco and I had this private Zoom yesterday. And like I said, 10 minutes into it, we said, let's record it. A lot of what are a significant part of what we talked about was what you're talking about. Okay. It was about the over identification with past memories, star family origination, that we think we came from here, we think we came from there, channeling, just those things that make us different.
Yeah.
Right. So, in the way, it was weird because the way it happened, I really just wanted to catch up with him. But I'd been having this thing in my head that I couldn't figure out for a long time. And it had to do with the galactic wars. Okay. But I couldn't figure out what it was. So I said to him, I said, I have this thing. I'm really smart. I hit it really well. It's a little morsel that I can't get. And I like to work things out myself, but I thought I would mention it to you. Now, I usually just work things out by myself, or I'll work with Morgan on something, but normally it's just by myself, especially the last few months. And as soon as I said that, and he's got like 5 words out, I figured it. I got it.
Yeah.
The telepathy was there. And what it was, it wasn't the memory that I'd forgotten. It was my attachment to that. It was my attachment to thinking there was something there that I needed to remember. Now, he went on to explain, and we had a really good conversation. So I should be able to release it when he sends it in the next day or two. Very in depth from his perspective. Again, everyone knows Franco's history, incarnations of other planets, memories from the womb forward. So it was really interesting, but it was the same thing you're talking about. It was explained in a different way in our conversation. It was explained in a non-judgmental, and really what it all came down to was, we're here to be human, period. All of that stuff was just code, including our traumas, including our interaction with these aspects. Those are information providers. That's it. And that
exactly. Attachment is the same thing whether you're attaching to something of a high frequency or something to a low frequency. It's still attachment.
That's right.
It is. And they said that the important thing is to really embody that frequency. And that doesn't mean that you don't have opinions or boundaries, or like, that's the sovereignty. You can stand in your sovereignty without judging, without trying to convince others. because they're trying to. They said that what we are doing when we're really embodying this frequency is that we start emitting that frequency, and that is what evokes remembrance in others, and that's really what it's about. It's remembering who we are. And when you start emitting more and more of this out of your body, that's what evokes remembrance in others. You don't evoke the remembrance in others by using an old program. And they use the example of school, like how many people can relate to the whole, like, you have to read this and you're going to have this test and you're going to do it like that and you're going to do it exactly this way and just learn this by memory, and then you do like this, and everyone talking about that doesn't work. That's not the model we want for our schools. But yet many people in the awakened communities walking around with that same program trying to awaken others, and that doesn't work because it's the old program still in use, just in with other words.
Yeah. And I remember talking to him, and I can't remember who was saying what, but I remember the conversation. I can't look at the screen because there's all this weird stuff happening. I think I'm hallucinating. But but he was talking about, or we were talking about, I can't remember who was talking about this part. And so it was the same thing. Let's say that we have a memory that happened 5 years ago, or we lived in a certain place and we had a certain job and we had a certain lifestyle, and it was we think it was the happiest part of our life or something, that we can never get that again. It always happens in the present, and it's there. It's a reference point. It's a memory, but you can never duplicate it. So this part he was explaining, which is basically all of that stuff out there, all the woo-woo, everything, it's the same thing. That the focal point is right here, right now, and all of that is like a toolkit.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's like a toolkit, and we can apply it. And I don't know what the hell's going on. I just know I woke up this morning and I went crazy, but it was pure. It was whatever we're talking about. That's what it was. It was that frequency. It was like, you don't look back. You just go for it, kind of thing. Yeah. I can't explain it. You better talk, because.
Okay. You sure about that?
I can't. Yeah, you better. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, but it's
Jesus.
It's like, just over the last couple of weeks, right? So one thing is that I can, I've been taking places, or I go into, a trance channel, or I get downloads, or, like the usual stuff for me, right? But now it's been like sitting in the garden with a coffee, eating my lunch. And that's really not a meditative state, right? I'm very much awake and like in a normal state. And suddenly I start hearing the drums. And then I start seeing, like, playing out in front of my open eyes, like a layer on the garden and the plants and trees and everything, and the car parking and everything. And I just see the mountains, and I'm like, and I hear them telling me to go in because I'm being taken on a journey. And I'm like, I didn't even ask for a journey. Like, I'm sitting here with my coffee, And then at the same time, like, I go inside, I lie down, I keep hearing it, and I'm very much like awake, aware state, going through the whole experience. But I find myself in 3 places. So I'm very aware of my physical body here. And then I find myself in a women's circle in the Andean mountains, going through a ceremony. And then I start channeling one from there. So I just put on the recorder on my phone, like this in the middle of it, and just when this channeling started.
Wow.
And then at the same time as I'm experiencing the journey, I see this portal in light, and I see like all the the patterning in the light and the colors, and I see that coming up in Australia, and then I start seeing like geometric patterns in Australia, and I see just underneath and above the earth in Australia. So I'm fully aware, fully conscious of my body here, of experiencing also on a very, very sensory experience of that journey in the Andean Mountains at the same time as I'm finding myself in Australia. So it's like I'm in these three places at the same time. And then,
That's
when it's all finished and, I've channeled what came through, and I'm like, my coffee is cold. And it's just like, we go back to normal. It's like, this is life.
so. I wonder if because that sounds like what happened to me those 3 times in 2 days. Except I didn't have the sensory stuff going on with the bilocation, but
Yeah.
I knew where I was in the bilocation. Now, I think the reason I wasn't able to like grasp that is because I was conscious, and this also happened to me laying in bed probably the night before, so say 4 times in 2 days. But I was awake. You know how when you're not asleep and you're not awake, like when you're just getting up and you're in and out. It wasn't even like that.
Kind of know that.
I was right. I was more like awake, but my body felt really heavy,
Yeah.
like concrete, like it was really heavy, and I couldn't pick my arms up, right? And then when I did get up off the couch or off the bed, I had to like get on my hands and knees or lay back down because I couldn't walk. So
Well,
what I'm saying is that I may not have been able to have that sensory experience because it was and I had a big, like my head was killing me, like a migraine. I mean, it was like a really intense physical thing. Very depleting too. Did these episodes deplete you
that
physically?
one specifically was just, I felt full of energy afterwards.
Hmm.
But sometimes I get completely wiped out,
Hmm.
completely. So it really varies a lot. Normally, when I'm like, if I channel light language, that's like having a shower on the inside. It's just like that. Just feels amazing to the body. And a normal channeling in English, like a trance channel, feels to me normally like very much like the light language because it's such a high frequency that goes through my body. But
Hmm.
it also takes more energy, or I feel I use more energy on it because I'm holding of sort of like a separate being. I don't know if this makes sense. But it's like
Does it?
when that happens, it's just like, I feel the energy just like in my body, and
Wow.
I'm, you know, talking and
I don't think. I don't
sometimes
think you.
after that I get really wiped out, and sometimes it's just like I can be a bit like today, for example, like I'm almost like starting shaking, and I feel this pressure, and it's just so much energy, and then I can be like, oh my goodness, of course it's a channel, and I can just like go into the channeling, and then I feel better afterwards because it's all that energy that is actually creating sort
Hmm.
of the pressure.
But this is crazy because the same thing started to happen before this show, right? And like I can think of some things that have happened to me very recently too. It's like you feel it coming. Like
Yes.
like it used to happen before, like it's starting to happen right now. I'm talking about it like the heart's going do 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 do, like that, you know? So have you ever trans channeled on camera? You want to? I mean, you only live once, you know. I mean, I figure we just got to push the envelope here. I mean, I'll do something too, whatever we got to do, I'll do it. But I don't know. Maybe it was
It's
telepathic.
like, oh, just before, when I had that experience when I heard your voice suddenly out of my phone, before,
Oh,
I
yeah.
had this energy and I started shaking and I felt like I was just like going into, like, immediately into a trance. I was like, oh my goodness, what if I just see Todd in the eyes and I go into a trance, because I have no control, and it's my biggest fear. Like,
Really?
since the first day I channeled, I was like, oh my God, I hope I never will be channeling in front of people. It's like my biggest fear, because
Uh,
I'm totally out of control. And just before we
wow.
got on, I was like, maybe that's why my body, like, why I'm so tired, because I'm less able to actually be in
Mm,
control. So it's more like kicking me out of. So I
yeah.
was like, oh my God, is Todd going to ask me about this today?
Well, I didn't know, but evidently. But see, I think this is what's happening. I think it's becoming us. Like it's becoming the humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, and then I'm with you too because I realize that when I don't get sleep, I become more and more and more open.
Yeah.
Right? You just I don't know how that works, but it's almost like how do you not sleep for 2 days? It just doesn't make sense.
But
And
I
then
get
you're
so wiped out, like I can't do anything. It's just like I'm a mess. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. What do you think about that? What do you think? No pressure.
We can try,
You want
and
to
I,
try it?
I I cannot promise that I'm able to go fully into it, because I.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes, it will absolutely help.
What?
Did you see the comment of our beautiful Dr. Joe Delaney?
I don't know if I can do that. I don't know.
Yeah, I can try, but just everyone bear with me, because I've never done it in
Yeah,
front of
let's
people,
just see what
and
happens. And
it's like my biggest fear. So here's for
which which
initiations.
which makes sense. That makes sense.
We are we are present. We thank you. We thank you for assisting us in taking her a bit out of her own way. And we thank you all for walking in your shoes today. You might think you have some of an idea of what you are doing here, but the vastness of what you are here to do and what you are doing, not waiting for, but doing, is way beyond what your mind can comprehend. If the human could understand just a little bit of what they are doing just by being in the physical body, just by making decisions in their everyday life, because that is what is directing the energy. It's what is directing the frequency from, you can see it as one node point to another one. When you make a decision, or you take an action, or you speak words in your normal day-to-day life, you are directing energy. This affects everything around. This affects the whole. This is what you are doing. Every single being. There are many thinking, but I am not doing enough. You are doing by being your frequency in your body and doing your human life in awareness. By making the choices that you will be making more and more of. There will be choice points coming these coming months. We ask you to look back to the times you have faced your fears in your life, and the feeling you have felt when you made the choice for you and you overcome yourself a little bit or a lot. Bring that feeling into your body when you are going to make these choices. Stand in your power and know that every choice counts. Not in right or wrong, but it counts in directing the energy. We can hear there are many questions. Yes, people will continue relocating. That is a continuous process. Souls will be coming together in what you call 22 that year, yes. The human mind is a magnificent tool for analyzing. It's not a good tool to use for when you should not analyze. That is the heart. The choices and the resonance is found in your heart. When you find yourself at the choice points, also with relocations, the answer is always in your heart. Always, dear ones, in your heart. You will remember from your heart. Your heart is a portal. You have been talking about the awakened community. You have been talking about the people that are aware of more than the physical reality around you. The remembrance of who you are is in here. The portal we are talking about is not the portal outside of you. It is the knowledge that you have a portal right here. It takes you anywhere you want. This is why distractions that are taking your focus and your energy out of your own space, out of your own resonance and energy, is not helpful. Because when you are in your frequency, when you are in your heart, you can access everything. Because you can see it as a tube, a portal that is widening, it's expanding. The more you remember, the more you are here in your heart. The more you make yourself wrong, the more you distract yourself from self-love, because that's what you are really doing by distracting yourself. You're not trusting and you're not loving yourself. By directing that energy in, you will stand through everything that is coming, and you will go everywhere you want. You will have the strength and the trust to move in the direction of your inner guidance. Yes. Are there questions?
I think the energy speaks for itself. I don't think there's any questions.
We thank you for holding this space. We thank you all again for walking this earth at this time. Do not belittle yourself and the work you are doing by being here at this time. Thank you.
You okay? Wow, thank you for that.
On my way back.
Here we are just joking around and stuff, and then you went right into it. You didn't even give us any warning. You're just like, whoa. I mean, that's what can you say about that? And the synchronicities and the sequential. I did it my way this morning, and I'm saying the same thing with a bunch of F-bombs, but it was the same thing that you're talking about. In fact, I put a couple of memes, and one of them was, the heart is the soul within the soul. Like the heart is unique to the human being. It's and it's also our gift to the universe. It's where we alchemize. It's the soul within the soul. It's different words, but it's the same thing that you're talking about.
Yes. Yes, because it's really, the words are only translating the energy, right? So
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Dang. Holy shiitake effing mushrooms, man. God. Yeah,
that
you're
was
right.
my biggest fear, Todd.
Well, you know what? But that makes sense because, because it's like we're, and I wrote about it, but I can't remember what I wrote. It's like we have to stand alone. It's what Franco and I talked about yesterday. Franco was told at 4 years old. When he was at 4 years old, he was a lot more aware, which is kind of crazy because he's got all the remembrance that he has at this point. But his guide was Yeshua from the womb, and they had, it sounds silly, but adult conversations, right, at a galactic level. Anyway, at 4 years old, Yeshua told Franco, and he says it on this video that we'll release in the next day or two. All this stuff that I'm telling you and all the memories that you have and all these things about how the universe operates in the history of the earth, the main thing is to be human.
Yes.
And so, like, if you had the biggest fear, I mean, that's not, this is just my opinion, but what you just spoke to us, I don't see that as, it might be an energy complex of a multitude of beings or essences, but it's you. It's you. And that's why I say it. It's like happening between what we call humans now. Like the whole woo-woo thing, all that stuff's going to go away.
Yeah.
It's like it's all happening right here. We had, that's why, and this is one of the things I was talking to Franco about yesterday. I said, it's really interesting. I'm watching people in the field who have been out there for a long time. Like, I know you just started last year, but like, say you were doing it for 10 years and you were trans channeling and whatever you do.
Yeah, I've been channeling for 6 or 7 years, I think. But I didn't
publicly, yeah,
come out until last year.
But what I'm watching happen is these people, and many of them have been out there for a long time. So how could you not identify with that, right? But I'm watching them. There's a lot of humble pie being served. And that's good for us. That's good for all of us. I wrote a post 10 days ago. I said, humble pie is being served. Let's eat until what we don't know is bigger than what we think we know, right? I mean, like, it's so humbling. It's like, it's mind blowing because on one hand, you're at the most vulnerable that you could ever be. And on the other hand, it's the most powerful. And you can't have one without the other. It's just freaky.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, for me, like one of my really big themes is the letting go of control. So right. Obviously, I was fighting this aspect of me. I also remember being in the womb. I remember my birth.
You do.
Yeah, I've been taken back. I've seen the contract between my mother and me. And in terms of the birth. And so I've been shown very clearly that I was like, it all happened the way it did because there was no way I was going to be disconnected. So I left my body during birth. So it was a birth that took 32 hours, my poor mom. And they didn't know if they would lose me at the end. And I was taken through, I have 3 experiences where I've been going through the birth. The first time I didn't understand where I was until I suddenly realized I saw my mother from the inside. That was a bit weird. But it has happened over the last 2 years, like 3 times I've been taken back and I've seen the whole thing, like, and experiencing the whole, like, you know, how it was, and like being pressured, coming out in all this light and so cold, and, you know, that creepy doctor and like everything. But I also remember sitting with my, like, main guide, which is a Native American chief,
That's
sitting
right.
with,
You told me that. I forgot
yeah,
about
because
that.
I left my body and I was sitting with him watching. So when I've been taken through my birth, I have both been taken through the physical experience of it and also watching it all from above, sitting with him. And so it happened like that. I saw that it was actually a contract between my mother and I, her taking on that, going through that pain
Hmm.
in order to give me the experience that would allow me to come in fully open, sort of, or in that remembrance with him.
Jeez. And you mentioned your mother earlier. Does she know you're an alien? Is she? I mean, it sounded like you. She said, "How you doing?" I mean, it sounded like you talk openly with her.
Yes, yes, I do.
That's. And has she always accepted that?
Yes,
Or
it's yeah, she has, but it's
wow.
not been anything we sort of talked much about at home or anything. Like, I always try this, you know, I was really nailing the good girl thing to an extreme. It's not healthy. And so one of my biggest fears has been, and it's been like really coming up so clearly over the last couple
Well,
of
I
weeks.
remember. I
It's like
remember. What was it? January of 2020, right? That's when you started making videos.
in end of March. I
20,
made it public in May 2020.
May. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't have the dates exactly right, but I remember
But I
because
talked
we.
about January because that's when they really started pushing me, because
Okay.
I started channeling about
Okay.
fear and codependency in
Okay.
daily routine,
But that's
and they
when we
started
connected.
preparing me for and telling me to really start sharing the
Yeah.
messages. And I didn't understand until March 2020 happened that
Hmm.
this is actually what I've been talking about, because it's the frequency and the energy underneath all of this. And then I understood that, you know, I can't hold back anymore because of my own fear.
God, and yeah, because that's when we connected. We
Yeah.
connected the first part of 2020. I remember coming across something that you wrote or something. I was like, "Holy shit!" You know, and I was just like, "Okay, we got to get her on." But the energy of your story, like I know it probably better than most people because we've messaged a few times, especially last year. Because you know, I was like, let me, can I help you? You know, because I try to help people that want to start doing that. But because there's a lot of feminine energy in particular. I might have to take that statement back now. I'll say there's a lot of feminine energy in particular in both females and males that are wanting to come out, right? They're wanting to come out, and what I know about your story is that, right? Like, I mean, you didn't want to do this. You were very timid. I remember when you first did your first 2, 3 videos, you were real quiet, and I sent you a message. And I said, "Hey, you might want to get a microphone," you
I
know. And
still need a microphone.
no, but like this sounds good. But like when I first, but anyway, what I'm saying is that's the energy that you're reflecting today. And believe me, I've got literally 200 messages from people. 200. I mean, I tell you, in the last week, I probably have received 40 people. I don't know where they came from. I mean, they see on a show, I might mention it, but they're all saying the same thing. I have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how in the F am I going to be able to do this? You know, it's just like crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it because of that. I'm saying it because you represent this energy of the coming out. And I have believed for a long, long time that one way or the other, everybody, it sounds wrong, everybody has to do it, but I mean, it's part of the process to really come out like what you just did. Like
Yeah,
that
and for
was,
me, that's,
yeah.
it's, I've been so afraid of ever being asked to, or be in the situation where I have to channel in front of people other than light
Well,
language.
that's what your brother, that's what your brother's for, and you already knew it.
Yes. Yes.
No wonder you were going to throw up
But
before
it's
this.
the lose, like I'm losing the control, right? Because in order to be in that state and let
Yeah.
it come through, I have to put myself completely on the side. So I have no control over what's like, I don't, like, I will have to re-listen to like, I know what I felt. I know some of what I was saying, but I will have to re-listen to really
Well, that was
hear
the
it.
first. That was the first thing that you said in that state was thank you for like giving her space, all of you, so she could get past her fear and put the human aside, or something like that. And see, the other thing too is, you know, often I would think of like, and I'm sure others probably did too, like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, I'm going to turn into a blue avian and you're going to turn into a Pleiadian, or I'm going to be a dragon and you're going to be this. No, we're going to be humans. And I think what the transfiguration is, this is the word I got 2 mornings ago. I'm in bed. I went through 6 hours of this. I couldn't get out of the bed, but I was conscious. And I heard the word transfiguration. But
Yeah.
so this is what the transfiguration is. It's not like shape shifting. It could be, but I'm just saying it's what you just did. It's the channeling that people do. It's the you know, the higher, the expressions of the higher aspects of themselves, not to be embarrassed, getting past this fear that's been taken on by the human and actually sharing that.
Yeah, and it's the ego, right? It's all the, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, what if I'm not able to do it? What if I, what if I mess up something, with the English? What if but I've been, sometimes when I've been channeling, it's been like I've had to look in the dictionary afterwards because it's English words I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just, but it's like the beginning of the journey for me because I've always seen things, right, since I was a kid. But I always thought I tried to be normal because I understood that people were not experiencing the world the same way I was. So I just really learned to hide it, right? But then it come really full force on. And it was very intense and has always been very physical for me. So I could there was a period of time like I had problems passing churchyards, for example. I couldn't be in, I could come to a place I've never been before and I would just see Vikings running around on the field and I would, get physically really unwell. And when because a big part of my journey has been my health, and that's really what forced me to really look at this side of myself because I was running away from it to the detriment of myself. So it was, I was in and out of hospital. I was having seizures that I couldn't understand. They were, like once I got picked up by an ambulance after passing a churchyard because I saw this huge thing just rising and I just passed out and I started vomiting and I was shaking. And I don't remember anything.
That's trippy.
And so, it was in the beginning for me, it was very like, I don't want anything to do with this. Like, this is like, but it was, of course, because I had pushed myself, being the good girl and having too many jobs and too many studies and, all those patterns, the codependency, the good girl, like all of it to an extreme. So I had pushed my body really, really strongly, so for a long time. And then as well, this was happening, and I was running away from a very essential part of who I am. Right. So
The real
that
you. Yeah.
combination just made it so that I was, I
That's
collapsed
crazy.
fully.
I didn't know you had that too. I always wondered too, because like from 15 to 50, I had about 150, maybe 200 seizures.
Yeah. I have been
And
explained afterwards that it's because what I didn't understand and know, of course, was that the energy was coming into me for channeling, but I didn't know what it was. And I didn't want to look in the direction of anything of that because I didn't want to.
when you had that happen, did you throw up? I mean, I would throw up and I would have it happened. It happened all the time. I mean, it was a bit,
Yeah, I
it
was
happened
explained that it's basically the energy is coming into the body
coming
and the
in.
physical body not being able to hold it. So it's electrical energy. So it's the nervous system that gets it. It's like a short circuit in the nervous system. That's how they explained it to me in the chat.
I know one thing. I don't know about you, but when they were over, and you're sweating and you're coming back, like after a couple of minutes, it feels really good. You would feel like, wow, But that's
Yeah, I could be ill for like a week or something after something
really,
like
yeah.
that. But when
Wow.
when I started channeling, then it helped, when I understood that I have to face this.
So
And so
it's
I went to
wow.
this
That's
one
so
person who helped me a lot, or there, yeah, two
so.
people that has helped me really a lot. But
Um,
they thought I had a brain tumor, and I said I don't. But I took like 3 pictures, and they thought I had MS, and they thought I had epilepsy.
Epilepsy. Yeah, that's what they thought.
So they in the end they gave me the diagnosis of chronic fatigue and Lyme disease. So it's been quite a journey.
That's what.
Um,
That's what.
that was in 2012, of course, when I collapsed.
There seems to be an inordinate number of people in these communities that have Lyme's disease. And what's the other one? There's another one that quite a few have. I can't remember. Wow, this is
Either
like,
CFS or fibromyalgia, maybe.
yeah, that's another one. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, because
Uh,
the CFS, I got that diagnosis as well.
yeah. So, God, you just like, this was like crazy because we were just like laughing and not even on the planet. And then all of a sudden, boom. But the telepathy, like you knew I was going to ask. I didn't even know I was going to ask. And then you jumped right on it, which it's funny because I was making that comment to Morgan yesterday about something. And I said, whenever it comes down to having to do something, I just jump in and do it because it's the easiest way.
Yeah.
You don't have time to think about anything, you just go, right?
Yes. Yeah. And when I felt this energy and I saw you like an hour before we went on, and I felt like, I got so afraid because I was like, oh my goodness, what if we go live? And
Well, no
I
wonder.
either, because this energy is so strong, and like if I see Todd in the eyes and I start either crying or I just go into trance state and I have no control whatsoever, like.
Well, no wonder you were freaking out because
I know.
because see, you come in on the screen, but I couldn't turn you on because I hadn't signed out of the last show. But I could see your energy like just going crazy, and I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" So that's what it was. So there's a part of us that knows. And then the other thing I'm taking away today is you're making me realize today there's a part of us that is probably part of our soul signature in some way that wants to come out. It's the real us. And it doesn't look, I would imagine it doesn't look normal.
Exactly. And, for example, with CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, it's quite, I mean, if you just like go out of the whole, like when you're in the experience, just like dark room, no sound, you can't move your body type of thing, it's just really awful. But if you just look at the energetics of it, of not, like, for example, this aspect of me it's a huge part of why I'm here on the planet now. Right. So if I'm abandoning that part of myself and I want nothing to do with it, and I do everything I can to distract myself from it, to run away from it, no wonder why my life force energy will stop flowing,
Yeah.
because I'm divorcing myself.
Yeah.
So the more, I am actually being who I am, and I let that energy just flow, and I, overcome my ego when it's afraid of, being judged or making a fail or a
Oh my
failure,
God,
or,
this is crazy. This is just crazy. I'm gonna go throw up here in a minute. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get sick. But it's crazy because everything's happening in sequence. I mean, this is just a continuation of what I went through this morning and last night, talking to Franco yesterday. I mean, it's the same. It's all just like moving really quick. In fact, right
now
when we
it's like a 24-hour broadcast. It's just like, can someone just turn off for 5 minutes? Like I see these
I
lines over
heard,
Australia, and then it's like I'm, in the mountains, and then it's like, these types of like this type of information coming in, and then it's like, some of my own stuff coming up, and then it's just, it's
I
just to flow with it as much as possible.
right when we started this show, this friend of mine from South Africa sent a message. I guess he saw one of the videos this morning, and you just said something that I feel like it's all related, but it's this. So he says, like, I understand the complexities of it all, but I cannot accept that it has taken so long. He says, F free will. Let's have a blank slate. Let's say, in other words, it's like there's this energy or atmosphere of I've had enough. We've waited long enough. And yet we're externalizing it, but really it's us, which is what I'm picking up from
Exactly.
you. I'm picking up from you when you said, if I'm not allowing this part of me, the true part of me, to come in, it's going to kill my life force energy. So there you go with the disease.
Exactly.
See, this was one of the things I talked to Franco about last Friday. First question, I said to him, why is it that people like you that do what you do and other people have information they're withholding? Like you'll hear people say that. They say, well, I can't tell you that. I can tell you this, but I can't
Yeah, I
tell you
give
that.
very specific guidance on what to share in videos and what not to share. And then
You
they
do.
can tell me,
You
like,
do.
now you go back to whatever we told you in this period, and now you can share that.
Okay. See, now I get some of this, okay? And I talked to him about this Friday. I get some of this. I get that, we don't want to know what's going to happen because it'll take all the fun out, basically. Takes the point. Takes the point out. But I crossed this bridge a few days ago and I'm like, wait a minute. We're sovereign beings. What do they think? We're little kids? Okay. This is when I started to go, wait a minute. And I started having these conversations here in my house with them. And I'd say, hey, wait a minute. Why are you holding back? Who do you think you are? We're sovereign all the way down the line. So there was this whole kind of give and take that occurred.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that, and I'm just speaking energetically and metaphorically, but I feel like that's what we've done. We've said, hey, you know what? We want more information now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like we're getting not upset, but we're like, I always tell them, hey, all respect, love, honor, and reverence, but what the F is going on here? I want some answers. So I think this is kind of the energy and produces a situation like we just experienced with you, which was, yeah, you need to go back and watch it. It was excellent. Don't let your human get in the way. We're honored to be a part of it. I'm always honored to collaborate with you. I had no idea this was going to happen today, because if you'd have told me it was going to happen today, I probably would have said not today.
Right.
Just like you said before we started. You're like, I don't want to do this. That now, because you knew why. So you already had yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're on this planet, and I'm so happy we are reconnected.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is getting
Really
good.
deep.
This is getting good. I mean, this is getting really, really good. So, and because I know like my part of it, and because of my part of it, I know how the energy works. I know it because I've done it for, it's in my bones, right? Because when one does it, the next one does it. And what
Yeah.
ends up happening is all the pretension and all the mask and all the stuff that doesn't stay with us goes away. And then you get these pure, raw expressions in many different forms, but they all do the same thing. They just light the souls up.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
there are so many ego deaths on the way there.
I know, right? I showed a meme today
Oh.
and it said, it was like Rumi or something. It said something about dying. Oh, it was Rumi. And he's like something about dying is how you're born or how you meet. I don't know. It was Rumi. And I just put every single one of them because there's like 10 a day now, right? You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yes.
I
Yes. No,
surrender.
it's incredible.
Hmm.
It's just really really getting out of our own way and just
Yeah.
letting go. Like I used to, and I have learned now that it doesn't work to try to figure things out and
No,
analyze everything,
no.
because I've been very prone to overthinking. It does not go very well with channeling because you have to put yourself completely out. So that has been like a really inner tug of war for me. And then of course doing it publicly, that has been like the really last.
I mean, what you just did was like one of the bravest things I've ever seen because I could feel your fear. But that's what you did though. You stopped thinking. You just went right into it, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
said something like, "This is my biggest fear," and the next thing you know, you're going like this, and then boom, like.
Yeah.
And that's the other
Yeah,
thing
because it's
about.
just I felt the energy. Like
Mm.
that's why I was afraid of just going into trance as one at
See, and
once when I saw
maybe,
it that because I've been like floating, like it's been
yeah.
so. That's why I've been shaking, because it's been so strong. But then when I just like, okay, I'm doing this. It's okay. Come, like I just
So
allow it, and then yeah,
yeah. So you know what I'm thinking too, because that session last night, the lady was on here a minute ago. I don't know if she's still here. Beautiful sister. That was another thing that happened too. Now I just saw it in you too, and then in this conversation. So maybe the Todd that's been here in the bedroom at night screaming at the team and and asking for more and what kind of game are you playing, who the f do you think we are, we're not your little kids, we're out here doing the work. I mean, I'm sitting here for everybody doing it. But last night and what I saw with you and what I'm hearing from you is it, we're actually getting out of our own way, but it's not it's our higher self, if you want to call it that, that comes rushing in. And the way that it came into you that quick, like it was, that's what happened last night in that session. Like before it even started, I felt this pressure in my head and I could just feel, and it freaked me out. Not freaked me out, it was different because it was more than one.
yes,
Now I've had some things happen to me before and energies try to come in, but this was different. It was all good. And what it ended up being, it was her multi-dimensionality. It was her lineage. So it was all these aspects, and they were just rushing to come in. And as soon as the word came, boom, they're in. So it's like
isn't
maybe
that fascinating when you see the whole multidimensionality? It's like,
yeah. I mean,
oh
but what I'm saying is maybe it's the high, maybe it is us. But I'm just saying that maybe it's not, I'm talking to myself, maybe it's not me that's saying hurry up, it's the human who's been thinking too much. It's blocking the voice that wants to come in that keeps telling hurry up. I don't know. But it's all good. It's all good.
yeah. Yeah, I was like in the beginning when I was channeling, it was it would be like I would be like really like almost the first time I channeled, I woke up in the morning and I couldn't move my body at all. And I didn't understand, and I got like, am I getting worse again? Like I've been getting better over the last months, like what's happening? And then my ex, who I lived with at the time, he came and, it took him like half an hour to help me to be able to sit up and just move me from the bed to the sofa. Because I couldn't move my body, and then I just lay down on the sofa, and I just remember having this thought like I just need to use all my willpower, and I have quite a lot of it, and all my strength to just like try like with straight arms to just like push myself up to try to sit. And when I did that, I don't remember anything more. And then he started filming me, so I have seen it on film afterwards, because I started moving and shaking, and there were like, he said it sounded like a dolphin, almost like the sound that came out of the mouth. And then I started talking in what I now know is light language, that then I like, what the freak is this? And then there were some things coming in English, there was something coming in Spanish. It was like just a mess of a lot of things. But then afterwards, I could just get up and I could spin around on the floor, because the pressure had come out of me. So
wow,
it's been very, very physical for me, the whole.
This is I think this is
now
a
it's
sign.
not like that anymore. Now it's.
No? I think this is definitely a sign of things to come. There's no doubt, and I think very rapidly. Whew, man, I'm gonna have to like prepare next time you come on. Make sure. I'm going to bed.
Just make sure that none of us are sleeping, so that we cannot intervene. And then
Yeah. I don't think we have a choice anymore. This whole not sleeping thing. I think it's all planned. Like,
yeah, but then if it's so, I want to have energy, so I'm actually functioning throughout the day, because I'm completely wiped out when that happens.
Well, so. I'm wiped out right now. I'm yeah.
Yeah.
So get some rest.
I will. You too.
Thank you very much. You're beautiful, brave, beloved sister. It's very good reconnecting with you. And we'll do it again, and we'll just all have to prepare and get some rest. Take care. Okay. Oh. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Love you.
And yeah, it's YouTube channel is what?
Yeah, Heart of Light.
Heart of Light. That's right. Why do I keep saying Heart of the other thing? I don't know why. Anyway, it's Heart of Light. They're very good. They're 15 to 20 minutes long. I watch them. I sit down and watch. I try to watch them because it's just like you right here. It's very, very genuine, very real, very down to earth. All right, you take care. See you later. All bless you.